Australija, kako židovski lobi koji je umiješan u zdravstvo u Australiji uništava doktore. Znači radi se o čovjeku koji je vrsni kardiolog, znanstvenik, hvaljen u čitavom svijetu. Znači samo zato što je komentirao događaj koji se dogodio u Australiji, da je to moguće čak djelo Mosada, bio neki napad, zbog toga je došao na udar židovskog lobija u Australiji.
McDonald attended a community forum in Marrickville organized by Palestine Justice Movement Sydney. The purpose of the forum was to discuss the growing influence of the Zionist lobby in this country and its increasingly aggressive efforts to stifle criticism of Israel and its genocide in Gaza. I was one of the speakers at the event, together with investigative journalists Wendy Bacon and Yaakov Oren from Michael West Media. Also on the panel was former Greens candidate Hannah Thomas, who became a household name earlier this year after she was brutally assaulted by police when she attended a protest outside the premises of SEC Plating, which reportedly manufactures parts of F-35 fighter jets used by Israel to bomb Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Towards the end of the Q&A session, McDonald asked this question to the panel.
I learned earlier this week that Iran was behind the terrorist attacks or anti-Semitic terrorist attacks in Sydney. Bullshit. I thought it was a no-brainer that these were Mossad-engineered events. Am I being totally naive, or has the Zionist lobby taken over Asia as well?
Now, before I talk about the lobby's response to McDonald's comment, I just want to make a few observations about what he actually said. First, to give you some context, McDonald was referring to the announcement made by the main spy agency in this country, the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, or ASIO, that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, the IRGC, was behind two of the arson attacks on Jewish targets here. While the mainstream media has parroted ASIO's allegations without any scrutiny whatsoever, much of the public has been fairly sceptical of the claims, with some even suspecting that the attacks may in fact be the result of Israeli interference. I discussed the reasons for this skepticism in the last episode of this podcast, which I'll link to in the description below. But in short, the reasons include 1. The failure of ASIO to produce any evidence whatsoever to support its claim. 2. The fact that the state police, who have conducted very extensive and well-resourced investigations into these arson attacks, haven't uncovered any ties to Iran, and that the evidence they've actually presented is inconsistent with any Iranian involvement. 3. The lack of trustworthiness of Australia's intelligence agencies due to their highly politicised history and support for the US and Israel. 4. The fact that ASIO's claims appear to have been based in no small part on intel provided by Israel, which had an obvious motive to blame its arch-enemy Iran. 5. Israel's history of false flag attacks against Jewish targets. And 6. The lack of any coherent motive on the part of Iran to carry out the attacks. The second thing I want to say is that Peter was speaking in his own time and in his own private capacity as a private citizen. He didn't claim to be speaking on behalf of St. Vincent's Hospital or the Victor Chang Institute, and he wasn't wearing anything that identified him with those entities. His question and the event itself had nothing to do with his employers, with cardiology, or with medicine in general. And finally, and while this is of course open to interpretation, I got the impression from McDonald's choice of words, his delivery, and his facial expression that his question was intended to be at least partly light-hearted and designed to get a laugh out of the audience. And it worked, as you can hear from the video. Okay, so now I want to talk about how the pro-Israel lobby responded to what Professor McDonald said. As is typical of the lobby, the campaign against McDonald was aggressive and brought on multiple fronts. There's not enough time to speak about all of those fronts today, but I do want to highlight a couple of them and speak about some of the people behind them. Let's start with the making of complaints, which is one of the lobby's all-time favourite fronts. On the 2nd of September, just 3 days after the forum at which McDonald spoke, 3 doctors from a group called the Alliance Against Anti-Semitism in Healthcare, or AAAHC, sent a letter to St. Vincent's Hospital demanding McDonald's immediate investigation, suspension, and termination.
Nevjerojatno.
What is the AAAHC and who is behind it? The AAAHC is a pro-Israel lobby group established early last year to operate within the medical profession. The AAAHC doesn't appear to have any website or social media accounts, and so it's difficult to ascertain information about the group. However, we know that one of its founders was Dr. Karen Fink, who is also one of the 3 doctors who sent the complaint about Professor McDonald to St. Vincent's Hospital.
Gadura.
Fink also keeps a very low profile online, but I was able to locate something that, in my view, is very revealing. This is a webpage titled Karen Fink's 50th Birthday on the website of the Zahal Disabled Veterans Organization, or ZDVO, which is better known by its Hebrew name, Bet Haloshem. Bet Haloshem, which translates to House of the Warriors, is a rehabilitation, sports and recreation center for injured Israeli soldiers. Here's a clip from a recent Bet Haloshem promo video.
Zanimljivo. Zanimljivo, evo šta se događa, znači ko drma svijetom ali i ruši se to kraljevstvo njihovo. Evo ljudi, informirajte se, educirajte se dok još možete jer će nas progoniti uskoro sve. Pozdrav!